This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Friday, the 11th day of February in the year 2022. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Guyana's oil production is set to increase, with the ExxonMobil company announcing today that it has started production on the Liza Unity vessel, Guyana's second oil production platform. In a statement, the company said the move will bring total production capacity to more than 340,000 barrels of oil per day in only 7 years since the country's first discovery. Exxon said production of the Liza Unity vessel is expected to reach its target of 220,000 barrels of oil per day later this year, as operations continue to be brought safely online. The recently commissioned vessel adds to the more than 120,000 barrels per day of capacity of the Liza Destiny FPSO, which began production in December of 2019. The president of ExxonMobil Upstream Oil and Gas Operations, Liam Mallon, said Exxon is ensuring its production is done responsibly.
We have had challenges with the flash gas compressor system on Destiny. I'm very disappointed about that. The team continues to work extremely hard to resolve that issue and trying to minimize flare as best we can within that design. What we have on Unity is a different design altogether. So on Destiny, we have a screw-type compressor manufactured by Man Energy for the second and third stage. The Unity FPSO has a centrifugal compressor for second and third stage manufactured by Baker Hughes GE. So it's a different machine. It's been fully tested. We have all the experts available during the startup process. We will step back if we have anything we're not happy with and ensure that we meet all of our expectations. So what I can assure is that we are working extremely hard to improve our performance and meet the expectations of the EPA, the government, but more importantly ourselves, that we minimize flare to the environment.
According to the company, the current resource has the potential to support up to 10 projects, and the company anticipates that 4 FPSOs with a capacity of more than 800,000 barrels of oil per day will be in operation on the Stabroek block by the end of the year 2025. In a separate statement this afternoon, the government of Guyana, through the Ministry of Natural Resources, welcomed the move by Exxon to start production at the new FPSO. Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat said the increased total daily capacity of oil augurs well for Guyana, especially on the heels of the Local Content Secretariat and the Natural Resources Fund being operationalized. The Liza Unity arrived in Guyana in October last year. It will be able to store around 2 million barrels of crude. The Liza Unity is the world's first FPSO to be awarded the Sustain 1 notation by the American Bureau of Shipping in recognition of the sustainability of its design, documentation, and operational procedures. More news coming up in just a moment.
How fast is fiber? Think fast. GTT Fiber has 3 packages with download speeds of 50, 100, and 150 megabits per second. That's fast enough to stream movies and music, to chat with Gran and Fran, to study, and more. What would you do? Upgrade to GTT Fiber today and don't get left behind tomorrow.
Guyana's 2022 International Energy Conference and Expo, under the theme Charting a Sustainable Energy Future, will be hosted at the Guyana Marriott from the 15th to the 18th of February 2022. Meet and engage with energy leaders from around the world. The conference will feature addresses from His Excellency President Irfan Ali, His Excellency Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, Honorable Prime Minister Mark Phillips, His Excellency Chandrika Prasad Santoki, Honorable Prime Minister Mia Motley, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, and many other highly esteemed speakers. Charting a Sustainable Energy Future, Guyana's 2022 International Energy Conference and Expo.
Valentine's Day is approaching and you're looking for that special gift for your special someone. We have everything you need at Fizarro.com. A wide variety of fragrances, special roses, necklaces, watches, or anything that let them know you're in this for the long run. Fizarro, Guyana's premier e-commerce marketplace.
Miss Smash Queen Guyana 2022. National Pride Costume Competition and Coronation. Sunday, February 20th at 1900 hours at the Ramada Georgetown Princess Hotel. Come, witness our 6 ambassadors vie for the crown as we mash down, mask up, and make melody.
People may forget the present you bought for them, but they'll never forget your scent. Find your signature fragrance at Elite Fragrances and Trade-In, located at 123 Regent Road Border between Ornock Street and Shiv Chandapal Drive. Call 619-5151 or 227-1255. Get a designer fragrance for yourself or loved one that they will never forget.
Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL.
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100.
Welcome back. Well, after 1 week of debates and 4 additional days of considerations, the $552.9 billion national budget presented to the House by Finance Minister Dr. Ashley Singh was passed last evening in the National Assembly, with no adjustments made despite several recommendations from the opposition. The budget since its presentation has been receiving mixed reviews, with some quarters hailing it as transformative and others believing more could have been done for the working class and to reduce the cost of living. But the finance minister articulated that the main thrust of the budget were to ensure that the urgent development needs of the country are met in the shortest possible time and to guarantee the long-term economic well-being of the nation.
I believe I'm at the point where it is my duty, sir, to report that the Committee of Supply has considered the estimates of expenditure for the financial year 2022 and has approved of those estimates as printed, sir.
As it relates to the utilization of the Natural Resource Fund, the minister could not say what specific projects the $126.7 billion will finance. But he noted that it will go towards the government's development agenda, and he has dismissed any speculation of the misuse of the fund.
I will reiterate, sir, that this government is committed to the highest level of transparency and accountability. And in fact, sir, over the course of the years, history will record it, sir, that it is the People's Progressive Party Civic during our previous term of office that had to restore the very important element of accountability that involves the production of audited financial statements.
This year's budget is 44.3% larger than last year's budget and just under 37% of the total expenditure in 2021. The entire $607.7 million from the Natural Resource Fund will be withdrawn from the budget. The finance minister says the budget laid the foundation for improvements in the coverage and quality of social services for citizens. Republic Bank Guyana Limited found itself as the subject of a protest today by representatives of the Guyana Civil Servants and General Workers Union over the bank's delay in recognizing the union as the official representative of the bank's more than 500 local workers. The union was given the accreditation to represent workers of Republic Bank Guyana by the Trade Union Recognition and Certification Board back in December of last year. But Republic Bank has since moved to the courts to challenge that decision. The bank wants the court to address a number of matters that it believes were not addressed by the Trade Union Recognition Board when it issued a certification to the union to represent the bank's employees. Leading today's protest was the president of the General Workers Union, Gregory Gasper, who accused the bank of putting up roadblocks to deny its workers proper representation.
We would have written asking for a meeting according to what is stipulated in the Recognition Act. And let me go back before that. When we had applied to the Recognition Board for recognition, the bank was written to by the Certification Board to come to a meeting. So it was the union, the board, and the bank that met. All the issues were discussed, and then a meeting was set for another date. When that date arrived, they indicated that they would send a representative to that meeting. And on the same day, they sent a letter to the board saying that they're taking the matter to court.
The union is now of the view that Republic Bank does not want its workers to be unionized and is therefore creating blocks using the court system.
So from the very inception, it is the bank's position, or they have taken the position where they want to delay this whole process. Because instead of meeting, they throw everything into the court.
According to the union president, the union has done its part and the Trade Union Recognition Board has also done its part. He said Republic Bank should not be allowed to frustrate the process any longer.
And they're choosing the longest route in the court, which I think is the statement of Kilim, the SOC, instead of the fixed date application. So that alone tells you that they want to drag out this thing. Right? They don't want their staff to be represented by a union. But we are not going to give up on this because the staff has chosen us.
Officials of the Workers' Union plan on continuing their protest action against the bank until the demand of the workers to be unionized is met. With the matter before the court, Republic Bank has offered not to comment on the issue at this time. While Guyana's Minister of Labour, Joseph Hamilton, is urging companies that are new to Guyana, especially those in the oil and gas sector, to better acquaint themselves with the laws of Guyana. Speaking during the opening of a labour seminar for foreign-owned companies operating in the oil and gas sector, the minister said based on his experience when interfacing with many of the companies, they are not fully aware of the country's labour laws. He said it may be a case of them receiving bad advice from their attorneys and human resource personnel.
Which is a sad thing. Many of the instances that I have interviewed, it is local HR and lawyers who have misdirected companies, and that's the sad thing, who have created the conditions for companies to break the law. And I say that publicly so people don't understand, because I have had instances with companies where...
Hamilton also said he has seen contracts that are not in compliance with local laws being foisted upon workers, and that needs to stop. He said the Labour Department has received numerous complaints from workers and their union representatives about a number of issues in the workplace, which range from them not being paid for overtime work to some being underpaid.
I have seen popped up. You didn't have them up in the other sectors, so to speak, before then. So the oil and gas sector, it has its own peculiarities, and that is the reason why it is necessary and important to have them in one space. Importantly, Guyanese private sector is here. Importantly, federate the trade union umbrella movement. They're here, and they also will speak. They're on the program this week.
The government intends to ensure staff members of the Labour Department are now better trained to better monitor the companies involved in the oil and gas sector. Prime Minister Mark Phillips applauded the move for more training and said the government will always support the rights of workers.
Guyana's new portfolio as an oil-producing nation, will bring in many more investors. Even as we welcome this growth, we must ensure that our people's interests are protected and that at the end of our exchange, each stakeholder has a clear understanding of the responsibilities and expectations required of them.
Over 80 companies participated in the training program today with the Labor Department. While the government has lifted the COVID-19 curfew, a number of restrictions still remain in place for social events. According to the updated COVID-19 guidelines which were published today, citizens are still prohibited from hosting, promoting, and attending private parties. Under the same regulations, citizens are also prohibited from attending clubs and discos and water parks. And there are still restrictions on the hosting of wakes and vigils and other social gathering events. However, the guidelines allow for bars, restaurants, casinos, and other gambling houses to continue to operate, although patrons should be fully vaccinated and those facilities should not operate at full capacity. Today, the National COVID-19 Task Force also lifted the restrictions on the opening of pools. In the updated guidelines, pools are now allowed to reopen, but at 50% of the capacity, while visits to creeks and rivers for social events remain prohibited. The Bank of Guyana has announced through the National Gazette that a new $2,000 note will go into circulation from Monday, the 14th of February, Valentine's Day. In the notice, the central bank explained that a new note, which is legal tender for the payment of any amount, carries the slogan "One Guyana" on one side, while featuring the faces of children to represent the 6 ethnic groups of Guyana. There's a YY pattern on the left side of the note, with the same pattern and the nation's motto on the right side. There are also a number of security features, and the note carries the signature of the Vice President, Barra Jagdeo. Usually, local currency notes carry the signature of the Minister of Finance and the Governor of the Bank of Guyana. There is no substantive Minister of Finance, but rather a Senior Minister of Finance in the Office of the President. An 18-year-old motorcyclist lost his life tragically yesterday when he crashed into a parked 4x4 vehicle after losing control of his motorcycle. The dead youth has been identified as Elijah Prophet of Craig Street, Camberville. The deadly incident took place in the same street where he lived. In surveillance video recording of the accident, the young man could be seen speeding on the motorcycle and losing control, pitching into the parked vehicle and flipping off the motorcycle, hitting the ground. A police statement said the 18-year-old was not wearing a helmet at the time of the crash. The police report also noted that he suffered injuries to his head and other parts of his body. He was taken to the hospital where doctors pronounced him dead on arrival. A post-mortem examination is to be carried out on his body. In the courts tonight, 2 men who were arrested earlier this week for allegedly being involved in a robbery that was caught on camera on Kroll Street appeared in court today and were remanded to jail on the robbery charge. The 2 were arrested by the police after the investigators reviewed surveillance video recordings of the robbery. Appearing in court today were 21-year-old Chris Pollard, who has faced the court previously on robbery charges, and 25-year-old Jamal Delph. The 2 men denied the charge that on the 8th of February at Kroll Street here in Georgetown, they attacked and robbed Riaz Ahmad of his mobile phone and a small quantity of cash. The police prosecutor objected to bail and noted the seriousness of the offense and the fact that the victim had to be taken to the hospital after the incident to tend to his injuries. Bail was refused, and the 2 accused will make their next court appearance on the 11th of March.
Valentine's Day is approaching and you're looking for that special gift for your special someone. We have everything you need at Tesoro.com. A wide variety of fragrances, special roses, necklaces, watches, or anything that'll let them know you're in this for the long run. Tesoro, Guyana's premier e-commerce marketplace.
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc.
Miss Smash Queen Guyana 2022 National Pride Costume Competition and Coronation. Sunday, February 20th at 1900 hours at the Ramada Georgetown Princess Hotel. Come, witness our 6 ambassadors vie for the crown as we mash down, mask up, and make melody.
Guyana's 2022 International Energy Conference and Expo under the theme Charting a Sustainable Energy Future will be hosted at the Guyana Marriott from the 15th to the 18th of February 2022. Meet and engage with energy leaders from around the world. The conference will feature addresses from His Excellency President Irfan Ali, His Excellency Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, Honorable Prime Minister Mark Phillips, His Excellency Chandrika Prasad Santoki, Honorable Prime Minister Mia Motley, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, and many other highly esteemed speakers. Charting a Sustainable Energy Future, Guyana's 2022 International Energy Conference and Expo.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up, protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight in Trinidad, the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, has once again sympathized with the family of the infant killed when the Coast Guard intercepted a vessel carrying Venezuelan migrants. But the Prime Minister says he rejects any attempt to paint the Coast Guard officers involved in the incident as murderers. He was speaking during the opening of the Maloney Community Swimming Pool yesterday afternoon. On Saturday night, the baby was killed and his mother was injured when the Coast Guard officers from Trinidad opened fire on a vessel transporting migrants from Venezuela. The Coast Guard said the vessel had tried to ram its boat. The Prime Minister said yesterday it is the job of the Coast Guard to defend Trinidad and Tobago. Rowley said as a grandfather he understands what the family of the baby who was killed must be feeling. He said he did not know which officer pulled the trigger, but that he knew the officer would be feeling the pain of knowing his legal and appropriate action caused the death of a child. The child was shot to the head. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, today said that following a modest economic recovery in 2021, Barbados continues to face economic challenges owing to the global coronavirus pandemic. In a statement, the IMF said the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic continues to pose economic challenges to Barbados. Tourism has rebounded in recent months, leading to real GDP growth of 1.4% for 2021 and 11.5% in the fourth quarter of last year. The report said that during a recent IMF visit, the IMF delegation discussed the implementation of Barbados' economic recovery and transformation plan supported by the IMF. The 4-year extended agreement under the EFF was approved in October of 2018 and is for an amount equivalent to $464 million. And finally tonight, international news. A host of countries have urged their nationals to leave Ukraine amid growing warnings of a Russian invasion. The British Foreign Office said all UK nationals should leave now, while commercial means are still available. NATO Secretary General said that the bloc was united and prepared for any scenario, while the US warned Russia could attack at any time. Russia has repeatedly denied any plans to invade Ukraine, despite amassing more than 100,000 troops near the border. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said new Russian forces had arrived at the border in what he described as a very troubling sign of Russian escalation. Moscow has just begun massive military drills with neighboring Belarus, and Ukraine has accused Russia of blocking its access to the sea. The Kremlin says it wants to enforce red lines to make sure that its former Soviet neighbor does not join NATO. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight and this week. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.